did you do that? How did you do that?
All right.
Okay.
So let's get this started when you're ready. You ready?
Yep, all good.
All right. Cool.
What's your account or character name, and I'll invite you to the group.
At Xynode. Let me type it in there for you 1 second. There you go.
There you go. See, I told you. I figured that's what it'd be. So, Dragon Bones is a new DLC coming out in February.
Mm-hmm.
It's 2 new dungeons. There's 2 new battleground maps, and then on top of that, we have a whole bunch of base game features that are going to dramatically improve kind of player quality of life.
Okay.
So the big one that everybody's really enjoying right now on PTS is the outfit system.
Yep. Which
is basically the custom costume creator. I don't know if you've had a chance to mess with that on PTS yet or not.
I'm in it right now.
Okay, perfect. So it is based off of motif knowledge for now.
Mm-hmm.
And it is a collectible-based system, which means it's account-based, account-wide. So if you have a character that knows every motif, when you log that character in, it'll populate your collections. And then all your characters will have access to all of those visual styles in the outfit system.
Gotcha.
And yeah, as you're kind of looking around and messing with it, you can see that there's a huge amount of customization. There's like 349 unique chest visuals that you can have. And on and on and on and on. The system also allows you to change the visuals on your weapons and dye your weapons. So no more running around with red weapons all the time. If you want to have different colored weapons, you can do that.
You can dye your weapons red.
There you go.
Yeah, you could. A shinier
One of the first
red.
weapons I did was pink. So just as kind of that gag. But the only restriction to changing the visuals on weapons is they have to be the same family. So if you're changing a visual on a one-handed weapon, you can only pick from the one-handed weapons. You can't make a staff look like a bow or so on and so forth.
Right.
But you can make an axe look like a dagger, a one-handed axe look like a dagger, or a maul look like a two-handed axe.
Awesome. That's going to be confusing in PvP. You can
a little bit.
Got.
You can already kind of do that with costumes already.
That's true.
So we're not super worried about that. And then in addition to the outfit system, we've also got home storage, which is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the people that play with houses, love this. And then we've improved the leveling experience for players by adding in level up rewards as well as the skills advisor. And both of those are in there to kind of help the newer player along and help learn combat and build stronger characters.
Gotcha. There's a what I saw is like a build selection.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So if you hit K and open up the skills menu,
mm-hmm.
You should by default see the skills advisor on the left-hand side of the screen.
Yeah.
If you don't, you can hit T to open it.
To open, and then there's different builds in there. So there's like a beginner build, which kind of helps you build a character that will allow you to level up all your class skills initially. Or there's more specific roles, stamina, tanky, damage or magic and damage kind of thing.
Gotcha. I can see that.
And then you can turn it off if you want.
Mm-hmm.
And that's meant for the newer player to kind of get into the system because it's overwhelming. At the beginning. Well, as you know,
yeah,
you make builds and stuff. So
there's a lot to see.
Yep. And then the kind of last big thing on my list of things to talk about really quickly is tons of new item sets. There's 3 unique item sets per dungeon as well as a monster mask set. And then
they're pretty good.
And then the theme for combat balance this update is to make combat feel more responsive.
Mm-hmm.
And to help improve resource management. And one of the biggest ways we did that was to look at synergies
and
make them more responsive. So we removed them from the global cooldown, so you can use it as soon as you get that synergy prompt now, and it doesn't interrupt your skills.
I saw
And
that.
It feels so much better.
It feels really good.
It does. I was struggling on the live server with, say for example, using a rapid strikes. I would see the synergy, and in my mind, I'm ticking over ready to hit that as soon as it runs out, and as soon as I finish, it's gone.
Right.
Yeah.
I tried this out, the new system that you have at the moment, and it's really, really good.
Yeah, it's really good. It's really good as a tank. I play a tank a lot of times too, so it's really good. It just the minute those pop up to just hit them and get them.
And while we were at it, we actually found a few really weird edge cases for synergies, where they were actually going on pets and not necessarily on the person closest to the synergy.
So your Banekin is not able to activate his synergy.
Yeah. So we cleaned all that stuff up, and now it just feels really good. And as you well know, synergies are a really good way to get resources back and to do a little bit extra damage. So,
yeah, of course.
It flows really well together. Those are the big points for me. Obviously, if you have any questions, ask away. But I think you're here to see at least one of the dungeons.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, do you have a choice? Scoutcaller or Fang Lair?
I kind of like Fang Lair, just because
All right.
there's a dragon in there.
Yeah, that's generally the... and there's bones. So,
there are bones, this is true.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right,
Thematically appropriate.
We are on...
We're on normal.
We're on normal.
So we can kind of do a walk and talk and
Yeah.
not have to white knuckle it through the zone.
Yeah, of course. It's quite rough.
Have you had a chance to play on PTS much, or is this the first time on here?
I've been on quite a lot. I did see some of the dungeon, but obviously I'm gonna have you guys do the talking for it. But I got jumped on by the 3 dog-like bosses. You know, the Panther, the Guar, and the other. Yeah, they hurt.
Yep. Even in normal, they hurt. Yep.
They hurt in normal too. Yes.
Oh, I love that character name. Easy mode part 2.
You guys can go ahead and
Travel
jump
to
into travel to me, or
go
direct with Fang Lair. What was the first Elder Scrolls game you played?
Officially, Elder Scrolls 3.
Okay, so Morrowind.
Morrowind is amazing.
So, part of what we try to do with our content is we like to take a look at some of the past stuff that Elder Scrolls has done and kind of bring it to a modern age. So Fang Lair was actually... I'm getting this weird echo.
Yeah, I'm getting it as well.
Let me try and turn my mic down, maybe.
So,
That's better?
No.
But I blame you then.
Why would it be me? So, Fang Lair was, originally from Elder Scrolls Arena.
Yeah.
It was the very first dungeon you went into in Elder Scrolls Arena, and you went in here for the Staff of Chaos. Now, if you saw it in Elder Scrolls Arena, it doesn't look like ours, because nothing in Arena looks like ours. But so but the premise of it was pretty cool. You know, it was a dragon, came into a Dwemer mine, laid waste everything, killed all the Dwemer, drove them out, and then made it its home. And the name of the original Dwemer mine is lost to the ages past, and it just became known as Fang Lair. So we were like, that's a really cool premise, and we get to use a dragon, so let's do it. So that was kind of where we started. We didn't want to use a real dragon, skins and souls and all that other stuff. So we just we came up with the premise that this dragon is dead, and it's necromancers that will come in here and try to reanimate the skeleton.
Okay.
To use to destroy Tamriel. That was pretty quick. That was a lot quicker than the last one.
I'm pretty sure I could just go AFK and you guys would clear this with.
Yeah. So
with Mr. Easy mode.
Mm-hmm.
This is another weirdly thing that we've gotten a lot of positive feedback on. This door just opens.
Yes. No load screen.
Right. It's every streamer, every single time they all come, they go, "Oh, the door just opened." So it's cool. It was something we were able to do. We had some new world building techniques that we were able to use to kind of like allow us to do that. Another thing we tried to do in here was you can see the end of the dungeon from the beginning of the dungeon.
Let me have
kind of all loops around. So we will eventually get to that spot over there. but we can't get there yet. And if you look off in the distance, you'll see other places that you're going to go. So we tried to keep the scale of the vastness of this cavern and all the places you're going to go.
Gotcha.
And kill people.
Yeah, the load screens was a little disorientating to start with. When I first went on it on the live stream, I pressed the button on the door and I was like, "Huh, what? Something was weird.
That
Something happened."
Opened. Yeah.
Just let me in. And then I realized there's no load screens. I was like, "This is actually quite good."
Yeah, it's funny because it was a small thing that we were like, yeah, we can do this without the load screens and so through testing and stuff, or even our internal testers were like, hey, there's no load screens, and we're like, yeah, but we didn't think anything of it. And then universally the feedback has been, when people first come in, they're like, oh, there's no load screens here. So we're like,
yeah, it's really good.
It's funny as a developer to see something so small that we saw kind of, like be so well accepted.
Yeah, it was a lot more fluent when that happened. It was strange to start with, but yeah, it was much better.
And this is the first boss. This is she's probably the easiest boss in here.
Mm-hmm.
But we tried to go for that escalation aspect to it to make the bosses harder as you go along.
Yeah.
In particular, in Veteran, like the Menagerie which is the one you were talking about earlier. That one's pretty tough in normal.
Yeah.
It's really tough in Veteran. But then Tellurian is the boss after that. It's not all that tough on normal, but he's really tough. Or he's a lot tougher.
Is that the one that chained you across the floor?
No, that was Nur and Sabina, which is that a lot of people got like a big kick out of that because the tank at the end gets hit high up in the air and it looks kind of slow and he gets chained and stuff. So
yeah.
No, the Kalurian is the Lich that has the skulls around his room.
Oh yes, I know the one in the very middle, and it has all the totem type things.
Yep. And you have to, in Veteran, you have to go and kind of destroy those before he gets overpowered. And stuff,
yeah.
So.
No, that one was pretty cool.
Everything in place and let you guys kill everything.
The I forget his name, but the one with the dogs. I call them dogs. They look like dogs. There's a panther and there's a guar and then something else. Those ones. The fear on that. Yeah, the fear when you get feared and there's nothing you can do about it and he's gonna jump you.
Yeah.
That's quite scary.
I have actually been feared off the ledge, which pissed me off.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Everybody loved it and laughed. So
I think in Scale Caller, I dodge rolled off the side of the cliff on the last boss.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's pretty funny because you're just kind of standing on the edge and all of a sudden you dodge roll and you're like, oh, all right.
Whoops.
Won't do that again.
Yeah, I got feared by I think it's the panther that feared you. And he was
Yep.
I was running and I was going break. I was like, I can't break. You can't. There's nothing you can do.
He's coming.
Yep. It's kind of you know you're dead.
Yeah. Yep.
Speaking of which, I'm putting a crushing
You're
shock
so
on for that
scared. You can't stamina break it.
one. No. It's like, no way, there's a mechanic that you have to get someone to interrupt.
We added these plants because everybody loved them in VMA.
Oh yeah, of course. I've never sworn about that mechanic ever.
No,
That's okay. Neither have I.
It's Rich's favorite.
Yeah.
Rich done it on stream, so yeah.
As creators of it, do you yourselves even find it frustrating when you're inside of the lightning bubble and one pops out from underneath your feet?
Yes.
Oh, it's
I'm
awful.
pretty sure that's where FU Finn was coined.
Yeah.
There you go. I think I was on a few flawless attempts at the time when I first found out how annoying that could be.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is not too bad up to this boss. I'm getting comfortable with it, and then a mushroom spawns under my feet. Really?
Yeah.
They're not mushrooms. They're plants.
They're plants.
So
See, it's not just us.
Everyone calls them mushrooms.
It's the ongoing debate that me and Rich have because he keeps saying, it's like, they're mushrooms. I'm like, no, they're plants. And he's like, no, they're mushrooms. And I'm like, no, the team made the comment that they're plants. I understand you're creative director, but they're plants.
If too many people say it's mushrooms, it kind of is.
Yeah, right.
yeah.
This is fun though.
So I know we're just breezing past everything, but I mean, look at how freaking vast these areas are.
It's absolutely enormous.
It's so cool.
And that was one of the key aspects I wanted to sell, that this was an old Dwemer place, but it's very much not. Because I know when some people originally saw it, they're like, oh, it's Dwemer again. And then you go through and you're like, oh, but there's no Dwemer stuff here. It's not active. There's no steam pipes, none of that stuff. And I think that was we were trying to convey, is that this is very much abandoned and left to ruin and stuff.
It's it's barren. It's left. It's old. It's supposed to be what's left over.
Yeah.
Rather than seeing the usual constructions and stuff, constructs even.
Yeah.
But Dwemer is some of the coolest stuff in the game anyway, like design-wise. So.
Oh yeah.
Seeing it all smashed up is actually pretty cool.
It was pretty cool it was pretty cool to visually just kind of like go to our world builder and say that and say, hey, we want Dwemer, and they're like, okay, it's gonna be pipes and it's gonna be other stuff. I'm like, no, it's smashed up. It's not,
wreck it.
It's not like Dwemer that you've seen before, and they're like, oh, okay, well, let's see what we could do. And there's several iterations. I know Rich played through some of the early stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's kind of Dwemer. It's not. Here's your favorite boss right here.
You should have had me on the stream. Some words came out. Him over there. This one.
Yeah.
And this one.
Yeah.
The big one and
This-
the panther.
Yeah.
The dogs.
So we'll run at you. Yeah.
Go
pull
on.
Up. Yeah. So it was pretty cool. Rich saw it from the early iterations, and then he would give us feedback of, it's not Dwemer enough, or it's not it doesn't look like it was
broken up enough.
Yeah, it's not broken up enough. It looked like it was an old mine. It looked like it was just a cave. So yeah, we had some pretty good iteration going back and forth on that.
Gotcha. What did I think it was a panther? What is it? It's a tiger.
The Cinch, yeah.
Yeah. When I first came in here on Vet, see these 3 doggies, these little ones?
Yep.
They weren't very nice.
No, they're not.
I ran in, I was like, oh, ads. And I just stood there and they all blew up at once. I was like, block? No, block's not going to do it. They hit real hard.
Yes, they do. This is considerably easier on
Normal.
normal. Yeah.
That's true. That's something I kind of had in mind actually. The gap between normal and vet is quite large. Is there any way to kind of apart from mechanics, I guess, is there any way to kind of close it?
I mean, it is, but there's also one of the things that we consciously tried to do was make it so that Veteran was a little bit more accessible than the other DLC dungeons.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then where we made up for the difficulty was on the hard modes.
Gotcha.
And the hard modes are really hard.
Yeah,
Kick your balls in hard, yeah.
I briefly saw a couple of attempts at that, and it's pretty rough.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a conscious effort on our part to say, okay, let's probably tone Veteran down a little bit, to make sure that more people can kind of complete the Veteran content, and then where we get our gains for like the high end players and stuff like that,
yeah,
people that are used to running this kind of stuff is in hard mode.
Yeah, I mean, that being said, there are more mechanics in Veteran, and you actually have to do them.
Yes.
So, like in normal, you can kind of get through, brute force. Whereas in Veteran, if you ignore some of the mechanics, you're going to pay for it.
That's something I really like about this DLC and Horns of the Reach as well, specifically, and a lot of other players do, I'm sure, is the fact that you do actually have to coordinate with your group.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
You can't just steam through and YOLO it.
Yes. And part of what we try to do to take the edge off of normal and veteran is we usually will develop veteran first, because we want to see and push the mechanics to like a level of difficulty, and then we take a look at where we can get gains on toning it back. We're going to naturally have less health and stuff like that, and less power on some of these monsters, but then we'll do stuff like, oh, well, this is a one-shot ability. Well, in normal, it only does 95% of your health, or something like that. So if you're less than, if you have 5% of your health gone, you die, but otherwise you don't. So
like Dummy
just
House.
try to take, exactly. And we try to take the edge off a little bit on a lot of those things. And even Gauchabar is the same way too. Whereas his fiery explosion on the island won't one-shot you in normal.
He has a lot going on. Which is kind of cool, but I like what you did with that one actually. I mean, I know we're going on previous DLCs, not necessarily this one, but in general, as far as the game looks like it's going, you actually feed people the mechanics throughout the dungeon until you get there, and then you get them all at once.
Yep.
Which is pretty
we did that with this too,
Yeah, that's a conscious effort we try to do as well, is to give you guys, to give people an idea, so that when they see it in a boss fight, I think that Jeremy, what he usually says in that regard is he's like, all right, well, if you're gonna have 5 or 6 mechanics in here, at least let them see 3 or 4 of them before they get there, so that they don't have to learn all 5 or 6 mechanics all at once.
Gotcha.
Learning by death is less fun than it could be.
To him.
To me. Everyone else loves it when I die. But yeah, that's something that we've definitely been working on for a while now. I think that we've gotten better and better about it.
Whoa. This is the perfect, a really good example of mechanics in normal you can kind of get by without doing.
Yeah.
But in veteran you definitely can't. You can't let the relics go in veteran.
No, definitely not.
They start doing more health, and then
I get it. Sorry, I was trying to alter my audio for a second there.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's what I saw from this so far, I mean, is a lot of the fights, especially this one and the last one, is it splits the group up.
Yes.
For you to all do your own, play your own role. And if you don't, you're stuffed.
Yep. And I think that part of it, with the last 2 DLCs, this one and the one before it, we heard the feedback mainly from tanks and people that were like, tanks didn't feel challenged in quite a lot of in some of the content. So what we tried to do is give tanking a role in here, and positioning is going to be important, and standing out of the stuff, and then moving over here and pulling monsters, and you know what I mean. So it was a very conscious effort on our part to say let's add to the depth that the toolbox that our tanks have. Yeah. And
well, you can see that in this one and the previous couple DLCs actually, because I play tanks the way I think they're made, and I make sure they have a lot of health basically.
Right.
And if you don't, and you're going up against Domihouse or something like that, and you take one of his big hits, even the little midget Minotaurs in comparison to him, they'll kill you.
Yep.
They hit really hard. Even on normal, if you miss a block, I think it's like 56k or something. It's disgusting. It's really, really fun. So I like the fact that
they hit like a truck.
They forced you to kind of beef up a bit, but then it's quite active as well. So the tank has to move around a lot and put everything where it belongs.
Right, right.
I quite liked it. But this as well. This one is. I like this fight. It's not gonna last as long as normal, is it?
I'll just stay back and bow. How's that? And then,
when I
then we
first
can
saw
make it
it,
go longer.
I was like, "Oh, the ghost is gonna fear you." I didn't expect it to pin me in the corner and start chaining my feet across the ring
and slowly reel you in.
Yeah,
it's a very obviously visually it's very different, but it reminds me of Fungal Grotto, where you get the 4 shadows that pin you to the ground and the dagger is above your head. And like, someone kill this quick. There's nothing you can do. Oh, I'm stunned. There we go. It's me.
You got a DPS now, Rich.
Get it!
What's funny is this is one of those ones that's the mechanic is at the very end.
I'm on it.
The last person who's chained is always the tank.
Oh, really?
So yes, it's always the tank. So it's kind of this force enrage kind of. You no longer have a tank, and you need to just burn the boss down. So it's this force burn phase where it's just a tank, or you don't have a tank anymore. So I haven't seen many people mention that, but I thought it was pretty funny, and it happens every time. So
nice.
Oh, we didn't even get to that to begin. Does
it
hit him a little too hard?
Is it based on the group finder roles?
No.
Oh, it knows which one the tank is?
You can tell based on the abilities you use and the abilities you have.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So a little sneaky, little dirty.
Yep.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Did you do that with Mazatan, or is it just bad luck that the healer always gets the curse?
on the last fight.
Yeah. Every time.
That's just bad luck.
It is bad luck. Like,
Mike burning evilly, though.
There are things that we do. We don't intentionally do healers generally because that's kind of messed up. But there are things we do, like Veladrith will target somebody who's resurrecting in order to knock them back and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, generally we have tricks that we use in order to know who the tanks are and stuff like that. It's like if you remember Maw of Lorcage, the twins use some similar mechanic to know who's tanking them, so that they don't cause swaps and you don't have tanks anymore and all this other stuff. So
yeah. Didn't plan on the healer getting nuked all the time while you sit there with the pyramid shape with your hands laughing at the screen.
Twiddling my mustache.
Indeed.
That's what I do.
This is a part I saw as well. You can explain it because you're the ones doing it, but I noticed the crystal quite early on.
Yeah. Yep. And if you're not too quick on pulling the crystal out, then you're going to see monsters that are going to come out of that little summoning circle kind of thing. Another thing in here is there's not one in this pull, but you notice them more in veteran than you do in normal because everything dies in normal pretty quick. But the revivifiers, which are a specific monster in here, which after a certain amount of time, they will then buff everybody around them, which makes everything really, really hard. So I know some people I've noticed have labeled them as priority targets the minute you go into a pool and you say, oh, there's a revivifier, you got to kill that guy first.
Gotcha. Well, the crystals kind of, wrong bar. They remind me of very similar, I've probably put in mind for that, but the White Gold Tower, the portals.
Yep. The
where
rifts.
If you don't get rid of them quick enough, you're in trouble. Yep. And then that comes into play on the Atronach, on the Planner Inhibitor.
Yes, and here it comes into play on Thurvican.
Yeah. Who, by the way, is still a really rough boss, so well done.
Yeah. I mean, we barely beat it on normal on the last group we had come through. It can be rough, yes.
When we did it on normal, I think we ran around screaming, and we just got it by luck.
I love what's funny is the first streams that we saw people that were like, oh, let's try it on hard mode right off the bat, and I was like,
oh dear.
And they were working him down his first health bar before he gets to phase 2, right?
Oh yeah, I didn't even know about that.
They were sitting there and they were working him down. They're like, I think we got this. And I'm just sitting there watching. My whole team is watching the stream. We're like, they don't even know that he's gonna heal half his health.
No, we did it. We got to the because a couple of guys were tired, really tired. They were gonna go, so we didn't finish it completely. One, in fact, only had 2 hours sleep before he went to work. And
wow.
We were on the last boss. We were getting him down. We figured out the mechanics. We got it now. Let's do it. Don't panic. He's 0%. Don't panic. And boom, his health went up. Like, oh, no.
And that's when Mike giggles.
Oh, yes, so funny.
It's pretty funny to see. Now, that group at the time didn't do hard mode. They eventually just went to do regular veteran. Yeah. And it was great to see them when they did regular veteran and they see his health come up and they go, oh, we didn't even know that was going to happen. I was like, yeah, if you had got to that point in hard mode, you would have broke keyboards, I think.
Yeah, that was full out evil mode. That was funny.
Yeah.
I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah. So this is the approach to Thurvican.
The place is enormous.
Yes, it is. It's not as big as like ICP. I know some people have said they think that it's as big as Imperial City Prison. It's not.
Yeah.
That one's actually a really, really, really big dungeon. But it is on the large. It's probably as big as Mazatoon as far as size goes. So
I think yeah, Mazatoon's probably, from what it feels like it's a really big one, but
yeah.
ICP is
really big. Yeah.
A lot of running.
Yeah.
Especially alongside that cavern type thing, where you've got all the watches and everything. That's massive, that part.
But so it's smaller, and we don't generally try to get dungeons that big anymore. We have I know me and Jeremy do a runtime test when our level designer goes in and first level design to do a run through without any monsters, just to say, because we have a general idea of how long it's going to take if we could tell how long it takes to run from start to finish of the dungeon.
Gotcha.
So we kind of run through and say, okay, well, this is what it comes in at, and this is what it's going to equate to time wise and stuff. So
makes sense.
Yep. So here is Thurvikin and Orin. We're in the black. Like I said, he has a comically bad guy name.
Is this dungeon as big as, well, real estate, I guess, as big as Bloodroot? Because that's quite a large one. Well, it feels like it is.
It's probably a little bit bigger.
Okay. Falkreath was quite fast.
Falkreath was on the smaller side. Scale color actually is more on the smaller side too.
Yeah.
At least comparatively. So.
Oof. Just ate that one.
Uh-oh. Where is he?
Ghosts.
Where is he?
No. And we got a Colossus.
What are you guys doing? I'm gonna die.
Come on, Finn.
I turn around and the whole room is full of monsters.
We're kind of DPSing.
Oh, I blocked that
Just
almost.
listening to you.
There we go.
All right.
We're good.
Good recovery.
We're
Guys,
good.
Guys.
Oh, ghost.
Where the hell's the wall? Oh, there it is.
Oh no!
Oh, that's not fair.
Fair.
When we saw
Mike's twiddling his mustache right now.
that wall, the gold wall, is probably one of the coolest mechanics. That was really, really awesome.
It's pretty awesome to, because I think that the boss designer, I mean, we kind of went back and forth on what we could do, and originally it had some like, we settled on the wall because it just worked better. Originally it was like a bubble, and then people were standing in and out of the bubble and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
it was a pretty cool. Uh-oh. Oh, did he fuse? I didn't know he fused.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get yourself a buff.
Ooh.
That is not a happy thing.
Fail?
Rip.
Sorry. Oh dear.
Oh shit. I'll take that. Oh, you moved the synergies as well, didn't you? The Undaunted ones.
What do you mean?
The range of which you can take them.
Some of them, yes. Like Radiate, I think that's the one that we changed to prefer range over melee. So it has a minimum range of 18 meters on it.
Gotcha.
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Just in time. But yeah, that was part of kind of the whole synergy suite. Is we looked at all the synergies and then buffed some of the ones that weren't quite as good in terms of damage or resource gain or
Right.
whatnot.
Right.
And then also looked at, because synergies tend to be more melee oriented, in that they're always at that point. We looked at some of the synergies to see if we could make them balance them out so that range people can get access to them as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because if you're really far out, you're not going to get any liquid
That's
lightning,
right.
no spears, no bubbles, none of that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And also the webs, the trapping webs has been
Yes.
I'll say
actually,
fixed.
Fixed.
Yeah, because it now works on bosses.
There you go.
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually a pretty decent DPS boost too. I know some people have been testing it out, and they said that they kind of like how the new one works. So.
Yeah, really, really good.
So the quick and dirty behind Scalecaller and how these two interact, because what we wanted to do from Shadows of the Hist and then Horns and then this was both dungeons should thematically or story-wise be linked. In Shadows of the Hist, they were thematic in that they were Argonian, but the two stories didn't really match together. But the feedback that we heard was it's better if they kind of mesh together. So Horns of the Reach was the first one we did that. The two Minotaur stories are two parts of the same story.
Okay.
And in this one, it's Zahn the Scalecaller and Thorvikin used to be Zahn's dragon. And then he left and Zahn was distraught, and eventually she was entombed where she was, and Thorvikin came to Fang Lair and eventually died here. So Zahn being resurrected and then Thorvikin being reanimated, and it's this kind of like duality of like the both. I said that what did I say in the last stream, that they were like Bradgelina. They were Zonican or something. They were a couple, and now you're dealing with the breakup. Is really what it is.
Gotcha. The messy divorce.
Yeah, the messy divorce that you have between these two, and it threatens all of Tamriel, as divorces are wont to do.
I still keep trying to loot it. I'm not looting. I'm on PTS. I don't need to.
I've gone through and looted everything, and I'm like,
I think
why?
Rich loots every single pull that we have.
Every pull, every crate and barrel, and they just laugh at me, and I'm like, whatever. It's a hard habit to break.
Yeah, it is, and that's why I want the storage crates in the house, because I can tip my characters upside down and then leave again.
That's right. Yep.
And then fill them back up.
So that's kind of our big thing, I think, and that's kind of all we have time for right now. Do you have any other questions, comments,
regarding
things you'd like us regarding update 17? Anything you want to ask?
Yeah. Can you say release dates?
February.
Good.
That doesn't help. But, yeah, that doesn't help. But February for now. So.
Okay. Where's my mammoth mount?
Your mammoth mount. That's a good question.
He's in Falkreath.
He is? Right, I'm gonna go get him.
You have to kill him, and then you can't mount him anymore.
But no, I've actually heard that request a few times. I want a mammoth.
That was
I
me.
want a mammoth. So.
He has a bunch of sock puppet accounts. It's just him. That's all.
Yeah, it's just me. I put a rigged poll about it on Twitter as well.
How much do you want a mammoth mount? I really want it. I kind of want it. That was the poll. Is that what that was?
It was kind of like that. Yeah, it said, "Yes, please, I want a mammoth," or "Give me a mammoth mount."
Okay.
And then I put under it like 100% not rigged or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want one of those. In general, about this particular DLC, I mean, the most things people are looking forward to is obviously the combat changes, which I've been messing with. Off balance, obviously, people are a little scared of it, but it's actually quite nice. Like what I've seen of it so far, it's a lot more useful for bigger groups because you don't keep taking it off each other. So I
right.
quite like
so
it.
There's actually some bug fixes to off balance that are coming in PTS, the next PTS update. So I guess that'd be 4. Where there were some cases where it was just doing really weird and awkward things. So all of those should be cleaned up.
Nice.
And then once that gets out to the PTS, we're going to start to evaluate, do we need to lengthen the duration of off balance or shorten it or do whatever. Like until the bugs are fixed, we don't want to go in and make changes because it's not quite working the way we intended.
I think that's the biggest request I heard was they were like, oh, well, the timers and stuff. And I'm like, hey, we can evaluate that if it's just setting a timer. The cooldown or the duration or something. So
exactly, and it's a base mechanic for the game as well. You get taught it in the tutorial, so you can kind of use it from the very beginning right to the end. So it's got to be working right. But exactly. It's a very valuable part of DPS and CC and all that kind of stuff. It's really handy. Another one I like the look of, and a lot of people are kind of in two minds about it, is block cost reduction. Now, it looks like so far, you've made it so that people that don't have a lot to block with can strategically use it quite well.
Yes.
And other people that just hold block forever are kind of being a little bit penalized and have to now pay attention to mechanics.
I think it also goes towards so block cost for, let's say, higher end tanks
Sure.
that are tanking the game stuff. Block cost was not anything that anybody really cared about because your reduction was so low that your cost on it was really not a lot. So it wasn't but that did help out up and coming newer tanks or people that didn't have, basically it's people that didn't have the jewelry enchants. If you didn't have the jewelry enchants, you had this kind of like insurmountable, like I can't block all the time and I feel like I should be able to block more and stuff. So I think we just kind of flipped that paradigm. We made it so that the high end players, they don't quite have nearly the reduction that they do, but the low end players, the people that basically don't have those jewelry enchants, they actually get a buff in this regard, and that their block costs less. So it's mainly, I think, trying to adapt and help those two the lower end tanks,
help them get into it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Because I see a lot of no, I won't say a lot. That's rude. I see a few that can just hold it forever, and it doesn't matter when a heavy attack's coming because you're never going to miss it. And now you kind of have to work a little bit harder for your sustain so that you pay attention to it.
Yep.
Which is, in my opinion, a good choice. What else did I have? Housing. Yes, you hit housing with the costume idea, where you can change your outfit and everything, which is awesome. I don't see any major issues with that at the moment. It looks really cool, and I like the fact that you can customize your armor, because some of it might not be to your taste, but you want to wear that set, do you know what I mean? And you don't really want to put a costume on, you just want to make it look like the crafted stuff you found, which is really good. The storage boxes as well, definitely need those. I want a few more though, so no pressure. And the one thing, I don't know if you can add it or not, but when you go to the house, you click on it and you go in your own house. Is there any future plans for clicking on it and seeing your friends' houses instead? So you can go to each individual one rather than just their primary.
It's something we've talked about. We chose the primary house route because it was less complex for the player, because you can own every house basically, which turns into a massive list of whatever it is, 70 homes or whatever we're up to now. So that's really hard to parse, and so that's kind of why we did that. But it's not out of the realm of possibility. But
okay, because then people could use well, they use multiple houses anyway, but you could customize each individual one rather than just having all your nice stuff in one place.
Right.
My last question. Yeah, I'm good. I'm done. Sorry, I'm waffling. I've got hundreds, but you'll be there all day.
I'm sure.
Mini map. That's it. I'm done.
Mini map.
Yeah, for consoles and
that's
PC.
a statement.
Yeah, that is a statement. I'll leave that one with you. Okay, guys. Well, thank you very much for having me. Hugely appreciated.
Absolutely, it was fun.
Definitely looking forward to the new changes and, of course, the release.
Awesome.
And if anything goes wrong, I'll tell you.
Alrighty.
There you go. Yeah.
No, it won't. It's looking awesome.
And yeah, I don't know if Johnny's still around, but obviously, if there's stuff you need, just hit him up, and he has a direct line to us to get answers if he doesn't have them.
Perfect.
Cool.
Okay then. Well, thank you very much indeed. Hugely appreciated.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay. See you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.